Hello and welcome back to Python Fundamentals. In this video, I'll explain about another loop condition in Python, that is while loop. So in my previous video, I explained about for loop, if loop, and then now we'll go through while loop. And while loop is used to execute a set of statements as long as a condition is satisfied. So as long as a condition is satisfied, the loop continues and the statements will be executed. So that is called while loop. So let us see some examples using while loop. So suppose I take x is equal to 0 while, now I have to write a condition, because unless and until the condition is true, a block of statements will be repeated, right? So by x less than 3, while x less than 3, print x, or I can ask to print some, I'll print x, so the value of x, and then you have to increment it because x has to go from 0 to 3, right? Now, see here, first I initialize x with 0, and while the x is less than 3, that is unless and until the x condition is true, this condition is true, that is until the x value is less than 3, print x. So I'm printing the value of x, and because here I have taken 0, it should be incremented, right? The value of x should be incremented. So x plus 1 is 1, x plus is equal to 1. So I'm incrementing by 1 value. So first it takes 0. 0 is less than 3, so it will print 0. And then next 0 plus is equal to 1. That means 0 plus 1, that is, it becomes 1. Now x is 1. So while 1 is less than 3, because 1 is again less than 3, the condition is true, print 1 x, that is x is equal to 1. Then again it goes here, 1 plus is equal to 1, that means it becomes 2. So x is 2. So 2 is less than 3. So then again it will print x. Now the x value is 2. So 2 will be printed, and 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Now x is equal to 3. 3 is less than 3 is not true. Then it will halt. So it will print how many values? 0, 1, and 2. So let us check this while statement. See here, right? So once the condition is false, that when it has reached the value 3, because 3 less than 3 condition is false, so it stop executing. So that is the how we use while. So unless until the condition is true, or as long as that condition is satisfied or is true, these statements will keep on executing. So that is called a while loop. Now let us take one more example. We'll take one more example. While we'll again initialize. Suppose we'll take I is equal to 0. First you have to initialize the value. While I less than 5, again I'll ask to print I. So there I have taken the previous example I have taken as x. Now here I'm taking it as y. You can write I plus is equal to 1, that is incrementing operator. You all know what is called incrementing operator, right? So it has printed up to 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Instead of printing the same I value, we can ask to print unless and until the condition is satisfied. We can ask to print some other value other than I. I think we'll print hello. So first, so how many times the hello has to be printed until I value becomes 5. So it is starting with the 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 5 times it has to print. So here, see here. So this is how the while loop works. And in all the loop conditions, one more thing which is very, very important is after writing if, while, or for loop, you have to use a colon, and then the statements which we are giving after the loops always should be indented. The number of spaces we use or tabs we use should be the same. Otherwise, the loop uh, uh, will not be executed, right? So that is called indentation is very, very important. Indentation means the statements has to be written with equal number of spaces. So if you don't know how to give the spaces or the or tab for writing the spaces, just what you need to do is after writing while statement, you can press delete and then enter. The next, it will be automatically indented. Here also, after print I, you delete and then press enter. Exactly comes below the print option. So that is indentation is very, very important. How many number of white spaces or tabs you must give. You can use either space or tab, but not both. For the indentation purpose, indentation is important while writing loops, even in the case of for loop or if loop, and also for the while loop. So I'll give one more example for the while loop. So I'll take a list of elements. Suppose the list consisting of 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9. So these are the elements of the list. And I want to print all the elements of the list. So I'll take a variable I is equal to 0 and while I now. So while I is less than, now what is the condition we have to write? How many number of elements are there? So all the elements should be printed. Then we have a function called length. So length always gives length of the list. So length of the list. So while I is less than length of the list. So length of the list always gives how many elements are there. So if I is unless and I less than or equal to less than length of the list, we can print the list items and we can use a statement called list of. Each element should be printed and we have indexing in the list. That is, we can access each element of the list by using called indexing. Indexing is nothing but by using the square brackets, and then you can put I. So if I is 0, list of 0. So this is the 0th element position of 0th position in the list, first position in the list, second position, third, fourth, and fifth. So as I goes from 0 to the length of the list, so each element can be accessed and then increment the I value. I plus 1 is equal to 1. Okay, now let us see what it prints. So should be equal to 1, right? Right. So now see all the elements of the list has been printed by using the while. So you have to use a function called length. So it will give how many elements are there in the list. So I should go from 0 to the number of elements in the list. And remember, in the list, we have an indexing, which tells you the position of each element in the list. This is the 0th position of the element. And this is the first position of the element, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So as I goes from length of the list, that is from 0 to 5, that is it goes from 0 to 4, then it will print each element. You can access each element of the list by using called indexing. And this is a syntax for writing the indexing. And then you can print, and then you have to increment I value. Similarly, you can also apply for the text strings also. You can write and print each character of the text. So I'll take this as a text and then write some text within the quotes. Always string should be written in the single quotes or double quotes. I'll write some text called hello, how are you, right? And then for again I is equal to 0 and I less than length of the text. So now here we have to use text and print text top. Here also we can access because indexing is possible with the strings also. Then you can print each element, that is each character in the string, by using the while loop. So this is how we can use while loop. So a while loop is one which executes this statement. So these statements, set of statements, unless and until the condition is satisfied. If it exceeds, suppose if it is 5 and 5 is less than the length of the list, then it will stop executing the statements. So that is the while loop. So we have studied and learned about for, if, and while. For is used for the iteration if the condition is satisfied, while executing the set of conditions as long as the condition is satisfied. So these are the three loops we have, and this is how we can use them in Python. In my next video, I'll explain about the purpose of using the keywords continue, pause, and break in the loops. Thank you.